Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 29th, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see Washington State here. We had this weak frontal system move through yesterday. Cast a pretty good rainbow for some of you guys that got out there to see that. Nice cloudscapes out there yesterday evening for the sunset as well. That's pushing through as we speak right now, and it's kicking up some pretty good winds here east of the Cascades. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. Didn't bring much in the way of precipitation, however. So look back across the Pacific Ocean. You can see the development of this very strong storm system is going to be moving up into the Gulf of Alaska. Some of this frontal system will try to swoop down into western BC and down towards Washington. We'll take a look at those details as we go through the video this morning as well. Right now, you can see that frontal system moving through. It's right now square over eastern Washington and portions of the Idaho Panhandle. Some gusty winds. You can see some mountain wave activity here across the Cascades as well. Maybe a residual shower or two, mainly across the higher terrain. Not a big deal. You can see as I scroll back and forth, you can see the frontal system pushing off to the east and the sun rising over the region. Now, looking at those precipitation totals, you can see very meager, 1/10 of an inch across some of the Olympics there, Cascades, and a little bit for the lower terrain there. Only a trace at SeaTac yesterday as well. So looking at Spokane National Weather Service, rapid spread of any new or existing fires is possible out there. We got some blowing dust advisories. We got red flag warnings as well. More on that here in a moment also. And this Pendleton, Oregon, the models are in agreement with this, as well as the forecast offices are in agreement also with the red flag warnings and the breezy conditions. I also wanted to point this out. Low temperature tonight as we go on into tomorrow. It's going to be pretty chilly out there, and chance of temperatures below 32 degrees for some of the higher terrain, and for some areas you can see Bend at 2%, Redmond at 46 there, John Day at 10%. But you'll notice that chill in the atmosphere. Then we're going to warm up a little bit. Now, if we take a look at that daily 2-meter minimum temperature, you can see the chilly temperatures across the Cascades in eastern Oregon, eastern Washington. You'll feel that chill. But watch as we go through Tuesday. We warm things up a bit. Then there's Wednesday, Thursday, maybe another chilly morning there, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, it looks like Monday, probably the chilliest morning of the upcoming week. Looking at Seattle, 62 degrees, 68 is the average high for this time of year. Just again, a trace of precipitation, nowhere near that 86-degree record high set back in 2017. Now, I selected this station here just to the south and east of Moses Lake, Washington. You can see Vantage right there. It would be I-90 right here. So if you check out these weather stations, they also put the warnings for your local areas there. So you can see red flag warning +2. If I click on that, you can see there is a frost advisory for tomorrow morning, a blowing dust advisory, and of course the red flag warning there as well. So yeah, very helpful. And of course it stores all the data for you. You can graph all your information on this weather station as well. If you want one of those, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Now, taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this frontal system's pushing through, and then we build a little bit of a ridge here, and that strong storm moves into southeast Alaska. Pretty good model agreement on that. Decaying front tries to pass through some of the Pacific Northwest. Should not amount to too much, but I'll show you that here in a moment. And then you can see as we go a little bit further off, differences in some timing as we go towards the end of the week. The European trying to bring some precipitation back into places like Seattle, maybe down as far as Portland. The GFS is weaker with that system, however, so that's something we'll be watching as we go through the next couple of days. And we go on into the extended forecast. Both models kind of build a ridge in the wake of that system. Gulf of Alaska troughing quite active, continuing here, and then we scroll off into the future here, and there's a little bit of differences start to emerge, but we're looking at 200 hours out right now. It's just kind of a fantasy forecast. No point in taking any kind of regard into that. Now, looking at what is going on right now, again, I want to kind of show you that we are dealing with the gustiest winds across the region. Probably right now, it is 8:30 as I'm doing this here, and there's about 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. You can see a westerly surge down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and again, those gusty winds east of the Cascades and some low relative humidities out there as well is what's driving those red flag warnings. Now, taking a look at a wider view of things here, you got the Gulf of Alaska. Look at this powerful storm way off to the bottom left. There's Washington State and British Columbia here. I'm going to put that into motion, and you can see that 985 millibar low drops down to just this monster right out over the Gulf of Alaska. It drops all the way down towards, 958 millibars, and then that's where it's at its maximum, and it starts to occlude here, and then you can see the pressure slowly starts to rise, then it starts to decay, and it tries to kick this frontal system across British Columbia. Pretty good precipitation amounts associated with that, and then it, by the time it gets towards Seattle, western Washington, it's lost a lot of its punch, and not much expected for Oregon out of that one. As you can see, that system fills and moves in towards British Columbia. Now, I want to look at total precipitation in inches as well, because something interesting showing up here. Again, huge amount showing up for western British Columbia with the initial system and then kind of clipping us here for Seattle. But look at the GFS, leaves Washington and Oregon really high and dry. And if we scroll out towards 200 hours, both models in good agreement for places, halfway up Vancouver Island up through western BC, maybe some of the higher terrain of southwest BC as well, getting some pretty decent precipitation amounts. But as we scroll off into the future, again, the GFS not bringing much until almost 300 hours out. The European a little bit wetter as it tries to bring some systems a little bit closer in towards the region. So something for us to watch here over the next few days to see how that changes. Fantasy windstorm outlook. I just do this for fun sometimes. You can look all the way out towards October 11th. And you see some 48, 49 per hour gusts for SeaTac, but that's just one simple ensemble. You can see the vast majority, almost all of them, have nothing in the way of windstorm potential as we go through the next couple of weeks. And this is the GFS. So something interesting here is some of the ensembles do show a wetter system as we go in through about October 10th through the 11th time frame here. So something we'll be watching here. It's that time of the year where things can change quite rapidly and we can start to get some fall storms a bit further south. If we look at Seattle, Tacoma also in the GFS, you can kind of see the warm up coming towards the end of next week and then cool down where you can see where the ridging would be developing and possibly additional systems. And you can still warm up a little bit at this time of year and through the first half of October. Looking at the wave heights, I wanted to point this out. As you can see, our deep low pressure system, you can see it spinning some big waves up across the Gulf of Alaska. We will get a bump across some of Vancouver Island, down towards Washington and down towards Oregon as we go through the mid portion of the week. Nothing too crazy though, at least as of right now. 6 to 10 day. What can you take from this? There's some near normal, and we're kind of right on the borderline of there. Some below normal precipitation as we go through October 8th, and this may be changing here if the GFS is right. It's going to drop us below normal. Here's the 6 to 10 day big bullseye here across the southwest, extends up into the Pacific Northwest as well. But yeah, what else? Anyway, yeah, if you're east of the mountains, watch out for that fire danger here. Tuesday might actually be a decent lenticular cloud viewing day. I'll revisit that again here tomorrow, but we'll continue to break things down, look off into the extended forecast and see what may be coming our way. Otherwise, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.